Welcome back to this lecture. Today we start the second point in this second lecture. So today we are going to discuss the objectives of design of RCC structures. So whenever we are going to design any reinforced concrete structure, we have to keep some objectives in our mind so that we can design these structures effectively. So let us start discussion over the objectives. So first we'll discuss the what are the objectives. So the first objective is the structure. So design should have an acceptable probability of performing satisfactorily during their intended life. Second, the design structure should sustain all loads and be formed within limits for construction and use. Third objective is the design structure should be durable, and the last point is the design structure should adequately resist to the effects of misuse and fire. So let us discuss these all objectives one by one. So in this first objective, that is the structure, so design should have an acceptable probability of performing satisfactorily during their intended lifetime. It means that whatever structure that we are going to design, it should behave satisfactorily during its intended lifetime. Means suppose if you are going to design a structure for a lifetime considering of about 100 years, then the structure should sustain up to those 100 years without causing any kind of deformations, without causing any kind of failures. So to achieve this, what we have to do that so this objective does not include a guarantee that every structure must perform satisfactorily during its intended life. It means that we cannot provide the guarantee that the structure will sustain to all loads within its lifetime. It may be because mostly what happens that whenever we are going to design or whenever the structures are actually constructed, there are a lot of uncertainties involved. In design process, that is the uncertainties which may involve like the estimation of the loads likely to be applied on the structures and in the strength of the materials. It means that particularly suppose if you are going to design a structure, and as a designer, first of all we have to calculate the loads which are going to act on the structure. So sometimes what happens, we assume the type of structure, and by assuming that type of structure we are going to calculate the loads. But actually whenever the structure is came into use, at that time the structure or use of the structure may be changed. So due to that, what happens that whatever loads that we have assumed during the design process, those loads are not going to act on the member, and some additional loads may act on the structure. So that's why there may be possibilities of failure. So that is the one type of uncertainties which involve in the design process, that is estimation of the loads. And second uncertainty is the strength of material. That is that whenever we are going to construct the material, we are using some materials. Just as I told you that in this particular case, in case of reinforced cement concrete, we are using a concrete which is a combination of aggregates, cement, and suppose whatever metal that we have used, suppose the aggregates what we have used, if those aggregates are not up to the mark, it means that if those aggregates do not satisfy the requirements specified in the course, then there may be possibilities of reduction in the strength of that concrete. Same thing is also applicable, that if suppose the whatever cement what you have used during the preparation of concrete, if that cement is not of good quality, then there may be reduction in the strength. Or even maybe during the construction, there may be possibilities of reduction in the concrete quality due to the lack of workmanship. So such kind of uncertainties are also there. That's why we cannot predict or we cannot assure 100% that the structures what we have designed should will satisfy or will perform satisfactorily during the intended lifetime. So that we have to keep in our mind, and accordingly we have to assume the loads while going to decide the loads for the design purpose. Moreover, the full guarantee would only involve the more cost. It means that suppose if you want to get the 100% assurance that the structure will sustain to the 100 years, it, for that we have to incur some additional cost. Why? So because of that we have to assure that whatever design loads what we have used, those design loads are up to the mark, means up to the whatever the type of use that we have assumed during the design process the building is going to use for that same purpose or not. And suppose if there may be possibilities of change of usage is going to change in the future, so in that case what you have to do that you have to consider some additional loads. So as you are going to consider additional loads, then there may be that as we are going to use the additional loads, it increases the sectional sizes. It means that the concrete size, concrete volume is also going to increase, and ultimately it is going to increase the cost of the structure. On the second factor, that is regarding the strength, then to achieve the strength you have to perform all the possible necessary tests on the materials, and you have to control the quality of the material, you have to control the workmanship of the labors, and for this we have to incur some additional cost or we have to pay some additional amount. So that's why to get a full guarantee we have to pay some additional or higher amount of money. Thus, there is an acceptable probability of performance of structures as given in the standard codes. So some codes are given some probability, just like as per our codal provisions, we can say that the structure will perform satisfactorily up to 95% or up to 90%, depends on the loads what we have given, the loads what we are using, or the combinations of loads what we are using as specified by the codes. So if we follow the standard codes and the standard practices which are provided or which have been laid by the codes of that particular country, then there may be possibilities that the structure will perform with an acceptable probability. The second objective is that the design structure should sustain all loads and deform within limits for the construction and use. It means that whenever you are going to construct the structure or a structural component, that component should have an adequate strength and there should be limited deformations. These are the two very important requirements of the structure that we have to consider while designing that structure. Because if the structure is having very good strength or adequate strength, then the limitations or limited deformations are going to occur. The structure should have sufficient strength and the deformation must be within the prescribed limit due to all loads during the construction and use. So let us try to understand this concept with animation. So here in this case, suppose if we have design and slab and some persons are going to use that slab, and if the number of persons are going to increase beyond the intended capacity, then there may be excessive deformation. So in this case you can see that the slab is deformed in a large amount but it is not ruptured or it is not break. So that's why there is no threat of life, but there is a high insecurity or the feeling of insecurity will be much more among the users. So such kind of things should not happen. That we have to take a due care of the deformations which are going to happen in that structure should be within the permissible limits. Then one more example let us consider. Again, it's the same example, number of persons are going to increase again beyond the permissible limit, and as a point reaches that that particular structure is designed for that particular load, and if that load exceeds beyond the limit, then there may be a rupture. So this is a very dangerous situation which causes a life threatening. So such kind of things should not happen. So this again, this point is very crucial that we have to think about this situation. Such kind of situations should not occur. That is the main point that should be considered by any designer while designing a structure. So third animation will explain it in a very good manner. So the structure what you are going to design, it should be such that it should accommodate all possible design loads within a permissible amount of deflection. So it will provide a safety to the users, and at the same time it will not cause any kind of insecurity among the users. So that whatever structure you are going to use or you are going to design, it should be strong enough, and again it should produce the minimum allowable deflections. Then the third objective is the design structures should be durable. Now, as we know that durability of structure depends upon the quality of concrete, particularly in case of RCC. That the materials of reinforced concrete structures get affected by the environmental conditions. So, very good example is that suppose if we do not provide a proper cover to the reinforcement in a reinforced cement concrete, and suppose if your structure is located in a coastal area, so what happens that as we know that in coastal area the amount of moisture in air is more. So due to the lack of or due to the insufficient cover to the reinforcement, what happens, there may be possibilities of exposure of this reinforcement to the atmospheric conditions. It means that whatever atmospheric moisture is there, that moisture may come directly in contact with the reinforcement, because as we know that concrete is again it is not a completely watertight material. Some minor pores are present, and through these minor pores the moisture may penetrate into the concrete, and if you do not provide the sufficient cover as prescribed by the IS 456 for the different environmental exposure conditions, then there may be possibilities of intrusion of this moisture into the concrete, which reaches to the reinforcement. And again, in the coastal area, the amount of moisture, whatever moisture consists, it may contain some amount of salt, so it will start degradation of the reinforcement. That is, corrosion of reinforcement will take place, and partly that reinforcement starts scaling, and as a effect of this, the total cross-sectional size of that reinforcement goes on reducing, so which reduces its strength, and as a result of this reduced strength, there may be possibilities of failure of the structure. So to avoid such kind of things, that whatever structures that we are going to provide, it should be durable, and to achieve that durability, the structures what we are going to use, it should have an enough strength, enough cover, so that the permissible deformations, permissible strength can be achieved in different atmospheric conditions, so that the structure will last long. So the design structures therefore must be checked for the durability. So durability can be checked by various aspects. Various tests are there to perform the durability of concrete. So by using that you may perform the durability, but particularly for the structure, the durability can be effectively handled by providing and sufficient amount of cover to the reinforcement also. So separate checks for durability are needed for the steel reinforcement and concrete, just as I told you. This will avoid problems of frequent repairing of structure. Very good, it is a frequently observed phenomena in particularly in the coastal regions that due to the lack of cover, many times it happens that scaling of concrete or spalling of concrete will take place. Spalling of concrete means that some amount of concrete may falls down due to the lack of bonding between the concrete and cement. So it requires frequent repairs. So to avoid that, if you provide sufficient cover initially, then you will get the much more durable structures. Then the last objective is the design structures should adequately resist to the effects of misuse and fire. The structures may be misused to prepare fireworks, store fireworks, gas, and other highly inflammable or explosive chemicals. Sometimes this is happening that the structure is designed for a residential purpose and illegally such kind of structures or such kind of buildings may be used for the preparation of fireworks or preparation of storage of fireworks. And suppose if in case by accident, if any bad incident happens, that's like explosion of such kind of fireworks or explosion of explosive or inflammable material happens, then that structure will not sustain such kind of load because that structure was not designed for that particular loads. So in that case, the structure may get failed. To avoid that, the structure should be used for the specified purpose only. In case of fires, again, as I told you in previously lectures also, a structure should be able to sustain some amount of fire. The reinforcement should be able to sustain some amount of fire. It means that mostly in case of RCC, the element which is reinforcement what we are using, if this reinforcement comes to the exposure to the extreme heat, then as I told you, steel loses its strength. So that steel is not able to sustain the tensile stresses which are going to develop in the concrete. Because in case of fire, such kind of situations may occur. So as the steel loses its strength, then the whatever stresses are there, all these stresses, tensile stresses, are to be bared by the concrete, and which is not possible. The concrete is not able to sustain the tensile stresses. So in that case, there may be possibilities of sudden failure of that structure. So such kind of things should not happen. So that's why mainly in case of there are some codal provisions so that the fire rating of each and every concrete element shall be checked. No, so there are some codal provisions, so you can go through the IS 456 so that you will find that the codal provisions are there so that that particular structure should withstand for a duration of dash dash hours. Such kind of provisions have been provided. So that is very important that we have to follow during the design and execution of any concrete structures. Properly designed structures should allow sufficient time and safe route for the persons inside to vacate the structure before they actually collapse. That is the same thing what I have told you that whatever structure that you are going to design, there should be some time limit that this particular structure is going to withstand for 1 hour. This particular structure or this column is going to withstand for 1.5 hours of extreme fire. So such kind of fire ratings you have to decide before deciding the uh, before designing the structure or while designing the structure. So it depends that the time fire rating is depends on the whatever cover that you are going to provide to the reinforcement. So all these specifications have been provided in IS 456. So that's why we can achieve a very good safety, or we can provide a sufficient time to the user so that they can evacuate that building. So that's why we can achieve the lack of or we can achieve the loss of lives. So that is the points what we have to consider while we are going to design any structure. Now, how to fulfill these objectives? So for fulfilling these objectives, that all the above objectives can be fulfilled by understanding the strength and deformation characteristics of materials used in the design and also their deterioration under the hostile exposure. Hostile exposure is nothing but the atmospheric exposure conditions. So if you know that what are the atmospheric conditions and if you provide an appropriate cover, if you are using the appropriate materials which are having very good strength, and if you limit the deformations of the structures or structural elements, then automatically we can achieve the objectives. So therefore it is important to know the characteristic properties of each of the material used to prepare the concrete. So if you know the properties of that material, then you will be able to achieve all these objectives also. These materials and the concrete after its preparation are also to be tested and checked. And that is why there is a rule that whenever you are going to prepare a concrete, you have to take a batch of concrete. It means that you have to take some amount of cube, that some amount of, you have to cast some cubes by using that particular concrete. Then you have to keep those cubes under the prevalent curing conditions, and you have to test those cubes at the interval of 7 days and 28 days, so that you will get the strength of that particular concrete which is used for the construction of that building. So you can check afterwards that whether that concrete is what you have prepared, whether it is of intended quality or not. So that why you can take the decisions in future. So these are the some standard operation procedures, SOPs, that we have to follow. So this how to prepare the cubes, what is the what number of cubes are to be prepared per batch. All these information have been provided in IS 456 section 1. So go through it. So the necessary information regarding the properties and characteristic strength of these materials are available in the standard codes of practice of different countries. As far as for Indian conditions, it is available in IS 456 2000. So it is necessary to follow these clearly defined standards for materials, production, workmanship, and maintenance and performance of the structures in service. So all these conditions, precautions, methods have been provided in IS 456. So go through it. So let us stop here for this particular part of the lecture. Then the remaining part will continue in the next lecture.